Everyone, this is the Board of Trustees regular meeting. It's February 26, 2019. It's 7:30 PM on the dot. This is meeting number 2019-04. Jane, please take the roll.
President Barry?
Here.
Trustee Straight?
Yes.
Trustee Stalker will not be here tonight. Trustee Olenichek?
Here?
Trustee Desmond? Trustee Phelan will be a little late. Oh, here he is right now.
Here he is, right on time. Good
And
job,
Trustee
Tom.
Porter.
Overtime victory.
We do have a quorum.
Thank you. Could everyone rise for the Pledge of Allegiance, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We have public comment. Mr. Joe Straight, talking about St. Gerald's. Joe, care to come up? And if you could let us know your name and if you live in Oak Lawn.
I'm Joe Strite. Yes, I am an Oak Lawn resident.
And who's with you today?
We have Ken and we have Bob Crosby. I can never pronounce.
St. Gerald's parishioners.
St. Gerald's parishioner. Never pronounce your last name, right?
Cosmas.
Cousins, okay. Okay, this year, the Holy Name at St. Gerald's will be hosting the 39th Annual Spiritual Assembly on June 22nd at 3 p.m. We will need 94th Street and 54th Court by the church closed from 2:15 to 3:15 for the procession of banners. This is open to all Holy Name and men's clubs and their families. I do have ad forms for our ad book to help defray the cost of running the event. We are honored that they have chose us to host the assembly this year. We hope to see some of you there. That's it. It's the spiritual assembly was started 39 years ago. It's all the Chicago local holy name societies and men's clubs, and pretty much that's it. We are honored that they asked us to host this year.
That's awesome. And what's the date again? June
22nd.
22nd.
22nd, 3 p.m. is the mass. Procession of banners will start at 2:15, 2:30.
Thank you. Very
Okay,
nice.
thank you.
Very nice. Trustee Olenichek, anything you want to add? It's your district.
St. Gerald's, where's that at? No, I think Joe and the guys have done a great job. The Cons, which is a culmination of all the Holy Name Societies in the Chicagoland area, it's supposed to be a very beautiful event. We are honored to have it. I know that Joe personally has worked very, very hard and tireless to get this through here, and it's going to be a great afternoon of not just the procession of all the Holy Name Societies, but there's going to be a mass, and I believe that there's going to be a dinner afterwards.
Yes, there's going to be a dinner in the Jonathan Collins Activity Center.
A dinner in the activity center. Awesome.
So it's a great representation for our church and for our community, and being that it's St. Gerald's, the best church in the suburb here, so I'm a little bit prejudiced.
Thank you, trustee. Thank you very much for coming out, guys. We appreciate that.
Mayor, if I could, gentlemen, congratulations. We have plenty of time to work with you, but we'll want to work with you on the traffic plans, assembly of all the participants, and work with our police and fire department. So at your convenience, like to get together with you earlier than later.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Best wishes for a successful event.
And they did have an interesting question. I think it was the legendary Mr. Crosby asked, do we have to stay for the whole thing? And I go, no, this isn't like mass. You can go. So if you'd like to leave, you don't have to stay.
No,
But we do hold it against you if you go. No, just kidding. You could enjoy it. It doesn't look like a long one today, so you never know, though. Conflict of interest disclosure. Does anyone have a conflict to disclose with any item on tonight's agenda? Hearing none, we're going to move on. 5, a request to approve the Lions Club District 1A Helen Keller 5K Walk Run. Be held on Sunday, April 28th, 2019. I can't believe it's that time of year again. May I have motion on 5.
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Trustee Vorder made that motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Trustee Strite. For discussion, I want to invite Frank up. Frank, good to see you.
Thank you very much.
I know you're here to talk about this event.
Yes, I am. I appreciate it. Madam Mayor and Madam Village Clerk and all the gentlemen, trustees, and village officials and all the people here. Thank you for letting me come tonight to speak to you a little bit about what we're going to be doing and what we've done. This is our our ninth Helen Keller 5K. We are at Richards High School, both wildlife, and on the streets of beautiful Oak Lawn. We have everyone on board right now, and hopefully the village, to approve this event. The money from this event supports Lions Illinois Foundation, which helps lots of people get some hearing and sight. It also supports the Illinois areas in this region that have no Lions Club. We call it open areas. This is really important. There are communities with no Lions Clubs, no one to support people with vision and hearing problems and all of the other things that we help with. We are really proud to be part of this community. With that being said, I have placed for your review the path that we follow. We've worked this out. We have people coming to monitor the race. We are hopefully going to have a great turnout. We have a special deal with this particular run and walk for anybody, in churches especially. Now, when you turn in money usually to a group, that's it. It goes to their cause. We share our cause with you. In other words, if you come in and generate some income for a legitimate organization, like the band group of your school or the Boy Scouts or Cub Scouts or whatever, and if we get this approved ahead of time, 40% of what you generate is rebated back to you at the end of this deal. So a Boy Scout group, which has happened, came up with $1,000. They ended up with $400 for all the good things they do. So that's quite the deal. This is really what we're all about. Our Lions Club has been here for almost 80 years. In fact, we're going to be celebrating this year our 80th anniversary. You'll get more about that. And I'm really proud to be part of that. We are very happy to be in the Oak Lawn family and supporting the activities of this board and all of the people that here that are working hard to make this one of the best communities ever. I want to mention that the fire department and the police department have come out to help us on this event. They are there to monitor the streets. They send a couple of bike riders to follow along for us old folks that are moving through the run and the walk, make sure that we all get back safe and sound. Thank you again for your support and your help, and we look forward to maybe the mayor or the village clerk to come out and start this event for us. And the trustees, we expect you to be out there running and walking and having a good time with us. It's going to be 72 degrees and sunny.
Right.
I'm doing my praying over here. Thank you again for your kind attention, and I would appreciate a favorable
Thank you, Frank.
vote. Thanks.
Good to see you again. Any other discussion on this item?
You just jinxed us. We're going to have a foot of snow.
No snow.
I have some people upstairs.
Let's call that vote, please.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you. We hope to see everyone over there on Sunday, April 28th. Thank you. Item 6, approval of meeting minutes for the regular meeting minutes, 2019-03, dated February 12th, 2019. May I have a motion, please, on 6?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Trustee Vorderer made that motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Trustee Phelan. Any discussion? Let's call that vote, please.
Trustee Strite?
Abstain.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Phelan?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Motion passes 3-0-1.
Thank you. New business by village trustees. Let's start in District 2 today.
Yeah, just one quick thing. Legal and Ordinance met on Friday. I know that it may seem difficult to believe, but spring is going to come here and so will summer. And one of the biggest issues that all of us trustees, I know Trustee Voider, Trustee Phelan, everybody here, has expressed concerns that when we go from winter into spring, that property maintenance is a issue with some residents here. So we've asked council to give us a quicker ordinance so that our property maintenance group can get quicker to the residents who choose not to meet the minimum standards of the Village of Oak Lawn, so we don't go through long, drawn-out issues of grass not being cut and properties unkept in the springtime. Of course, we want our residents to take care of it on their own. We want the due process to work, but when people choose not to take care of their property and live within our ordinance, we need to be able to give the tools to our staff to be able to address them quickly. So there will be a new ordinance coming up. Paul, when do you think we'll have that ready for? March?
Before the end of March.
Okay.
If not the first meeting, the second meeting for sure.
All right. So think warm, think spring. That concludes my report. Thank you.
Thank you. District 3, Trustee Straight.
Thank you, Mayor. I was contacted by a longtime resident of Oak Lawn who explained that she ran into a problem that I believe plagues many of our senior citizens. She experienced a serious plumbing problem that caused significant damage to her home. She went on to say that she's on a fixed income, and this is causing a hardship for her. And of course, I would like to help, and I'm sure we all want to help. Her specific inquiry is there any assistance available for seniors on a fixed income who need help with home repair bills such as this? Now, I'm wondering if anyone here has any ideas on ways to help out this resident. For example, she said that she's already paid a contractor $300, and now he wants another $1,500. Perhaps we could ask staff to look at the issue and advise her on whether or not she really needs this additional work. Or maybe we could get her a list of licensed contractors in the village. She is primarily seeking financial assistance, but maybe we could ease the financial burden for her. I would welcome any input, and I was wondering if perhaps the manager could raise this issue at his staff meeting tomorrow and come up with any recommendations on what we might be able to do to help people like this in this situation. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, can I?
Sure.
It's kind of apropos that the Holy Name Society is here, the men's club, but the men's club at St. Gerald's, and I know at other churches, are very involved with our seniors to try to protect them. We do a good job at, when we're asked to go in and take a look. We have a lot of people from the trades, and again, we want to make sure that a senior is not being taken advantage of. And then we've been in situations where we've been able to help out, if not deter the cost, help mitigate the cost of something like that. But the strength of Oak Lawn has always been its church and parishes. I would always say, if you can give me that resident's information, I'll be more than happy to talk to the boys from St. Gerald's and see what we can do to get that taken care of. And that's some of the things that we do, and I know, Terry, your parish is very involved, and Tom, your parish is very involved, as well as St. Linus, with helping our seniors, because we do need to protect them.
I appreciate that very much, and I will pass along that information to you, but I also, think like we have some tremendous staff here. Like, I would, trust Bill Meyer with anything, helping anybody in the community. And I think sometimes, and you mentioned that there's some guys with trade experience and stuff, but it might just be as simply, I of course, and I think probably what caught your attention was, I need another $1,500. I think that's what caught my attention too, so.
But it's not necessarily the money, it's making sure that the seniors are taken care of and their plumbing's working. And a lot of times, the $1,500 is for services that, quite frankly, there's many men in the neighborhood that are good-hearted and will help people out. And you've mentioned Bill Meyer. Bill Meyer does a great job at going out and giving advice to residents, but by law, he cannot physically do any of the work. Of
course.
But he can let the appropriate parties know if it's recommended or not recommended.
Absolutely. That's what I had in mind, so.
Trustee Straight, I will gladly get a list of the contractors who are licensed with the village as well.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you.
Larry?
Thank you, Mayor. Trustee Strite, just today, we had a couple in our office working with staff. And number one issue is they use two plumbers. I asked them to get the plumber on the phone, and I can assure you that both plumbers who I spoke to, neither one of them was licensed with the Village of Oak Lawn. So Diadaziak immediately brought up a list of licensed contractors who work in the Village of Oak Lawn. And that's really a starting point. When any homeowner has work to do, make sure you're using a contractor that is licensed with the Village of Oak Lawn. that will alleviate, at the beginning, a lot of problems. And we gave them that list. They went off, and they were very appreciative of what Dee provided for.
It's all very helpful. I appreciate Trustee Oliniechek, Steve, Larry, and I will pass along that information to you as well.
It's unfortunate. A lot of people don't realize that senior citizens pay all their bills. They'll take half of their medicine, limit themselves on food, and there are bad people out there that take advantage of our seniors, and that really comes to the core of my heart, because I think that in all the things we do, if we can protect our senior citizens from being taken advantage of, that's what I look at public service to be able to do.
Sure.
Excellent. Thank you.
Trustee, if you can send that to me in email, we have a relationship with the Plows Council on Aging,
Okay.
as well as the Illinois Department of Aging. We can go ahead and forward that information to them and see if they can provide any also.
That's another great idea. Thank you, Chief. Thank you very much. I will send that to you as well.
Great.
Good. Thank you.
Okay, District 4, Trustee
Yes,
Ward.
Mayor, I think I'll save my comments for consent agenda items, but I just want to piggyback a little bit on Trustee Oliniechek's comments about our lawn maintenance issues. One of the most frustrating things I've seen as a trustee in the village occur between maybe April to May, and that is property maintenance issues on lawn cutting. And there is a procedure in which the village has to go through before they personally, this village, can address cutting people's lawns. It's pretty lengthy, and by the time, first off, by the time these lawns come to our attention, they're already 4 or 5 inches long. And then we start this procedure. By the time we cut their grass, we're talking a foot. And more often than not, 6 weeks later, the lawn's that big. So what me and Alex have worked with our attorneys on is trying to shorten that timeline in which action can be taken. So I think that's going to be very productive for the village. It's nothing worse than driving down a block and seeing some house that hasn't been maintained. It diminishes the value of everybody's home on the block, and we need to address it because it's important. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. District 6.
Nothing this evening.
Thank you very much. Village Managers Report. Larry?
Thank you, Mayor. I only have one information item for the board. I think you would find it very informative and appreciative of a resident. You're all familiar with Lenore Goodfriend, who retired from our Honorable Congressman Dan Lipinski's office, and her late husband, David, who was a faithful member of the VFW post Johnson Phelps in our community and an officer as well. She attended faithfully many of the meetings, public hearings on the Advocate outpatient facility under construction at 52nd Avenue and 96th Street. Her comments and questions were always respectful, and I don't think she ever shared with anybody that the closest living unit, let me repeat, although you've had a lot of communications in the last 2 years, the closest unit to that new facility is Lenore Goodfriend. In addition to having a condo unit that faces the new east elevation of this facility, 58,000 square feet medical office building, she also has an outdoor deck. I met her today, and she wanted the board to know that she thinks that the building is absolutely outstanding in terms of the use of color, the architecture, and the landscape. And now, you don't often hear that. I know you hear a lot of other remarks regarding the facility. I also wanted to let you know I counted 57 construction workers on the site today. Let me repeat, 57 construction workers. Now, they've been working since the late fall of 2017. That's when demolition began on a decrepit, abandoned woodshed, lumberyard, and actually a small area that was used by the homeless. And now you have what you see under construction. Signage was put up today. They're beginning to power that signage. Started today. It takes about a week to get it completely powered up, LED lighting. But I think it looks exceptional, and she wanted the board to know that. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Yeah, that facility will have 142 licensed professionals working in it, which is pretty impressive. These are hopefully folks who will buy homes in the neighborhood and very highly trained doctors, nurse practitioners, and other licensed professionals. So great addition to the center of town. Thank you. Anything else, Larry?
That's it, Mayor, thank you.
Okay, number, let's see, 9, consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda are routine or have been brought forward at the direction of the Board of Trustees and will be enacted with one motion. If discussion is desired, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. 9A is a request to approve the Planning and Development Commission referral for a special use permit and a parking variation for a residential dwelling at 9724 Southwest Highway. This was a 4-3 vote to approve. Petition number 2019-1. Chandra Heka Kaza is the petitioner in District 3. B is an ordinance granting that request. C is a request to approve the Traffic Review Commission referral for resident parking by permit only on the east side of Kamensky Avenue from 102nd Street to 103rd Street. This was a 5-0 vote to approve petition number TC 1265M, like Mary. Victor Blanks is the petitioner in District 4. And then D is an ordinance granting that request. E is a request to approve the Historic Preservation Committee referral for an honorary street name, Bob Wilcox Way at 93rd Place from Keeler to Kamensky. This was a 4-0 vote to approve. HPC 2019-1. Terry Vorder is the petitioner in District 4. F is an ordinance granting that request. G is Resolution 14, a resolution authorizing and approving the purchase of certified wetland credits to Wetland Mitigation of Illinois, LLC. H is Resolution 1904-15, a resolution authorizing the execution of a letter of intent pertaining to an investment-grade audit with Siemens Industry Incorporated. I is Resolution 1904-16, a resolution approving a parking lease agreement between the Village of Oak Lawn and Star Auto Repair Foreign and Domestic Incorporated. May I have a motion on 9, please?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. We have a motion by Trustee Vorder. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Trustee Streit. Any discussion here? Trustee Streit.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I would like to remove items A, B, and I for discussion, please.
Thank you very much. We have motion to remove those items. Trustee Vorder.
Yeah, Mayor, I'd like to remove item E,
So that was item E and F.
E and F.
Okay. Thank you. So we have motion to remove A, B, and I, and E and F. The balance we will be voting on. Any other discussion? So this is voting on 9 except for A, B, I, E, and F. Let's call that vote, please.
Trustee Streit?
Yes.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Phelan?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Item 9A is a request to approve the Planning and Development Commission referral for a special use permit and a parking variation for a residential dwelling at 9724 Southwest Highway. A 4-3 vote to approve. Petition 2019-1. Chandra Reka Kaza is the petitioner in District 3. And B is the ordinance granting that request. May I have a motion, please, on 9A and B?
Mayor, my recommendation would be to deny the
So
special
we,
use.
okay, you're making a motion to
Yes.
deny?
Yes.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we have trustee Streit making a motion to deny, seconded by trustee Oliniechek. Any discussion?
Yes, Mayor.
Trustee Streit.
First of all, while making that motion, I want to say that, and you did a very good job with the pronunciation. I'll just go with the Mr. Kaza and his wife are here this evening, and
Would
they
you
are.
care to come to the microphone? Thank you.
They're really, really nice people that have the best of intentions. They have invested in property in our community, which I think we're all delighted for. They actually purchased the 9724 building, which is actually, it's a pretty good building. I think it's, I don't know that much about the infrastructure, but it has a nice appearance to it. It's a large building. Unfortunately, it has no parking whatsoever, and, there is no residential use currently for that building. although there's some framing in the second floor that they'd like to certainly pursue residential use upstairs. But they also own the building next door, which is, it has a single-family home on this lot. And I think what we have an opportunity here, oftentimes when we get, there are proposals that there's not really much we can work with. But in this particular case, I think we have an opportunity to take two parcels and make them, they're really both obsolete, I feel. But we can also make them one very nice parcel in our community. Mrs. Kaza is in they have experience because she works in the medical field. They have considered a medical use, just considered it, so I'm just, it's just an idea. I think it's really consistent with what we'd like to see. I think if we could work with them, and what I mean by that is, take a look at how many parking spaces they could carve out of the 9730 parcel, and then we can see, how many, let's say, based on the square footage and of the building on the first floor, and, I know there's some concerns about the residential use at all, but I think we could start with, once we know how many spots they can get, then we can start and see what we could do there. And I think they're open to that, and I almost hate to make the motion to deny, except for, I think we have to. I think we'll work with you, I promise you that. We have a great staff. They'll sit with you and look at, what you can do with the parking. But if we were to move forward, I think that we would certainly, it would really limit the options for the future. And I think like I say, they have the best of intentions. I believe them very much. They'd like to, ideally, they'd like to keep the house and rent out the buildings the way they are. But I feel and certainly you're welcome to speak to it. I just wanted to get my position out there.
So the trustees kind of saying, well, we're going to put the brakes on this maybe, but consider making that home parking. Do you know how many spots you could get? Have you researched that?
If I get rid of the home next door, I'm sure there will be ample parking. My only concern is it's a nice building. It may be worth 100,000, 150,000. We can get rid of it as part of modernization. We can get rid of the old home, which is a nice, not a very nice home, but it's a livable home. My objection is, our concern is, getting rid of a property like that is a loss not only for me, but for the city as well. In a way, over time, old properties will naturally take its life. And if the concern is parking, there are 9 spots. The thing is, right now, that's the only income generation for me. It's an empty building. The commercial property is an empty building. It's not generating any income. And so the taxes are very low that I'm paying right now. Getting rid of this home, which is the only income generation for me, in the hope of modernizing or using my commercial property better, I'm not against it. Over time, it'll happen anyway. But maybe it can be delayed until, say, a commercial tenant comes in there. If there is a nice tenant who
How long
comes.
have you been trying to rent it, sir? How long have you
It has
been
been
trying
in the market for a year.
Okay, and I think that's an indication that maybe there's not enough parking to attract a business. But I'm going to let Trustee Warder speak. He's been.
I have only one addition to the thing is, it was discussed well in the planning committee. Only addition, new information that came up since then is the previous owner who owned both the properties that I purchased he paved parking in the residence behind, about 7 spots. He paved it and was using it. I never needed to use that, so I contacted, between the last time and now, I contacted the owner. In principle, he is agreeable, but we need to discuss, what is the price of leasing and things like that. So there is about 7 addition. There are 9 spots right now. We can add if he is agreeable, we can add 7 more. I mean, if parking is an issue, the neighboring lot has some green space, which you can have additional parking there if he's, I mean, I did not investigate these things.
Trustee Warder was waiting to talk. Thank you.
I've been to this property 2 times, and this is a variance looking for 100% on the parking variances. I think in my history, I've never seen anything bigger than 50 or 60%. 100% is a lot. That's no parking. And you want to add a residence to that are going to need parking. It's a big commercial building. It originally housed a amusement company, was used almost for industrial. Now, I understand the problem. Southwest Highway is not a retail corridor. And I'm really not opposed to granting variance to allow you to put homes there. But I'm going to have a hard time voting for 100% variance. I think Trustee Strite has made some wonderful suggestions. I think you can greatly attract a commercial business if you were to follow those guidances. So I'd like to see you work with the village and come up with a solution to the parking. You talk about 9 spots here and 9 spots there, but you haven't brought any contracts, okay, to solve this 100% variance, and that's what we'd be giving you if we vote on this. So.
Yeah. The other concern is if you're using, the house, let's say you decide to sell the house, and then there's no chance of that being used for parking later, or so, you're under no obligation. So, any other discussion from trustees? Okay, let's call that vote.
Did you get a second?
This is a motion to deny.
We have a first and a second. Yes. Yeah, Trustee Strite,
Yes.
Trustee Oliniechek,
Yes.
Trustee Phelan,
Yes.
and Trustee Vorder.
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0 to deny.
So I would encourage you to work with staff, try to address that. I think you'll find the board responsive, should you make a few of their suggested changes. Thank you very much. Yes. Okay, Steve, thank you. Steve Radis is our Economic Development Director, and he's a big advocate helping business owners navigate the maze of the village. Thank you very much. Okay, this leaves us with 9I. Well, we could do E and F. I was just going in the order they said. So E and F. 9E is a request to approve the Historic Preservation Committee referral for an honorary street name, Bob Wilcox Way at 93rd Place from Keeler to Kamenetsky. This is a 4-0 vote to approve. HPC 2019-1. Terry Vorder is the petitioner in District 4. And F is a motion, an ordinance granting that request. May I have a motion on E and F, please?
Motion to approve, Mayor.
Thank you. Trustee Vorder made that motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Actually, Trustee Oliniechek, I'm going to give it to. Any discussion?
Yes, Mayor. Living in the 4th District is a man that I consider to be a hero, and I think most Americans would consider him to be a hero. He can't be here tonight because he had a fall, and he's in some nursing care, but Bob Wilcox is a 95-year-old veteran of World War II. He was in the second wave to storm the beaches of Normandy in 1945. He was wounded and received the Purple Heart on that campaign, and also was awarded the highest French War award available, and that was the French Legion Award. Since that war, he's become a resident in the village of Oak Lawn, and he has been instrumental in so many organizations in this village, number one being the Oak Lawn VFW. He still is a current officer of that post and held all the positions there. He's a great mentor for veterans coming back. He's a hero in the eyes of every veteran of that post. And a lot of guys that have combat experience come back with some trauma, and he's been able to counsel. In addition to that, Bob, for 50 years, has been a leader of Oak Lawn Boy Scouts, involved in just about every campaign that this village has done. He's given so much to this village. I think naming a street, his street after him, in the twilight of his life, hopefully he'll live for many, many years, but at 95, I think naming a street after him is a fitting reward to a man who's given so much, not only to this country, but to the village of Oak Lawn. So,
Thank you.
Yeah.
Can I share a story about
Sure, please
Mr.
do.
Wilcox? So he was gravely injured during the war, as you kind of alluded to. So his whole life, he's not been able to raise his arms above his shoulders. And when he came out, he wasn't sure what kind of work he could do. And with the GI Bill, he trained as an optician, and he had a store on Michigan Avenue for many years, House of Vision, and he worked there. And he's famous for fitting Harry Carey with his signature glasses. So those of you who are Sox fans, I apologize, but Wilcox Way is an awesome street name idea. And, you know, he's a true gentleman, a really fascinating man, and just a loving man and a caring man who gives back continually. So I encourage everyone to support this.
and Mayor, Harry Carey started out with the White Sox before he switched over. So we
Okay.
covered both bases. Okay.
I don't go back that long, Terry.
And what I want to do is, if this is approved, I'd like to, the day that this sign is commemorated and put up there, I'd like to notify the community in and around them. And maybe, Mayor, you can join me and we can do a little bit of community celebration for this.
That would be wonderful. That would be wonderful. And his grandson is in the Marines now, an officer in the Marines
Yes, he
as
is.
well. And anyway, okay, let's call the vote, please. This is ENF.
Trustee Straight? Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Phelan?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes,
Motion passes.
thank you.
Thank you very much. This leaves us with I, Resolution 190416, a resolution approving a parking lease agreement between the Village of Oak Lawn and Star Auto Repair Foreign and Domestic Incorporated. May I have a motion on 9I, please?
Mayor, I'm going to make a motion that we table this indefinitely, and then I'll explain.
Okay, so we have a motion to table indefinitely.
I'll
Do we-
second that.
Trustee Warder is our second. Any discussion?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. This problem really began because of a very small business that is very successful. They do very well. And I started to get involved with it about a year ago. So the small business owner had more cars than spots to put them in. So what he began to do is he began to park them on parking spaces that are adjacent to the street. And on the last day of every month, it is a public street, so on the last day of every month, I think, a police officer, the same police officer, would actually go there at midnight and write tickets out for any car that had an expired tag. The next morning, this business owner would call me and complain about, he's got customers dropping off cars and now they got tickets on them. So I started working with Steve Radis. I wish Steve was in here for this because he's been very involved in this. And this, you know, Steve worked closely with this fellow, and he's met with Larry a couple of times. So we were trying to come up with a solution that would give him a place to park, you know, these cars that would also make, you know, business sense to him. So somewhere along the line came up a suggestion to provide the lease that we have before us. Now, there's 12 spaces, and if you take the lease recommendation, which is $2 a space per day, you know, for 365 days a year, it comes to over $8,700 a year. Now, after discussing it with the business owner, he is not interested in this lease, and I understand. I hope everybody does. He pays, you know, according to him, he's like in excess of $18,000 a year in property taxes, some $8,000 in sales taxes, and while he does well, you know, he said this is just too much, and he's kind of, I guess, you know, kind of outgrown the parcel, and he's, you know, talked about moving to another location, although the business next door is vacant and for sale, and he's certainly interested in that. But I guess what I would like to say, he doesn't want to do this lease, but I know Steve is committed, Steve Radis is committed to working with him. I believe that Larry is too. So I think we should continue to work with him. There's other suggestions, you know, like
Okay.
there's other properties that, you know, in the area that he could possibly like, he does have an agreement with, I think, one of the neighboring businesses to park there, which is good, but, this is something that, it just was, the parcels are there and,
Thank you.
okay.
Good, we get it.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Let's call the hit vote. This is a motion to postpone indefinitely.
Trustee Straight?
Yes.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Phelan?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Item 10 is village clerk's report. Jane?
Right. Approval of semi-monthly disbursements, number 2019-04D, dated February 26, 2019, in the amount of $1,427,973.50.
Thank you. May I have a motion on 10A, please?
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Trustee Vorder made that
Second.
motion, seconded by trustee Oliniechek. Any discussion? Let's call the hit vote, please.
Trustee Straight?
Yes.
Trustee Oliniechek?
Yes.
Trustee Phelan?
Yes.
Trustee Vorder?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0. One more thing, Mayor. For the April 2nd, 2019 consolidated election, early voting begins right here in this Village Hall, in this room, on Monday, March 18th, and runs every day through April 1st. For dates and times, you can go to the village's website, call me, or Cook County Karen Yarborough's website. Now, today, we actually had quite a few people come into the Village Hall thinking they could vote. Today was the city of Chicago and a few municipalities that did have primaries. But there was no vote today in the Village of Oak Lawn. Early voting begins March 18th. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You should have let them vote.
Even had an election judge come up.
Okay, very good. Village President's report, I have no report. Number 12, motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
Trustee Oliniechek made that motion, seconded by trustee Vorder. Discussion? Let's call that vote, please.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Motion passes.
We are adjourned at 8:12 PM. Thank you, everyone.